Hello, welcome back to my channel. With connected today, he couldn't make it last time, and this time it's Luke who can't make it. Honestly, yeah, I think for half the episodes, at least one of the members has not been here. Hopefully it's better when the season actually starts again, because when the season is started and you're in the rhythm, maybe then everyone can make it. I think it's just like it's that time of the year, isn't it? It's like July, everyone is doing something, and it's big up to Adam already in here. Hit the likes, of course, everyone, and big up to Liam for the raids. Big up to everyone. Hello to him as well. How are you guys? So connect. You were not here last time, and last time we kind of talked about the collapse of the club's fan base, mental state. I mean, that's what we talk about every time at this point. So let me just ask one quick question before we get on to any new news, I suppose. What is your thoughts right now on the state of the fan base, where even when we do something good, it's still not good enough?
It just feels so disjointed at the moment, and like you just said, when the club does something good, someone's not happy. It's still not enough, and yeah, it's been so long since I felt that the fan base is this disjointed on stuff.
I don't think the fan base has ever been this not in my lifetime, at least. I know maybe the older guys when we were in the third division. I know that fan base was pretty disjointed then, from what the older people tell me. But even then, was it this bad? I struggle to believe that, to be honest. Maybe it's not this bad because internet didn't exist, to be fair.
Yeah, to be fair, the internet is obviously a bit more recent. It wasn't around certainly when my dad would have been debating city stuff, I suppose, with his mates. But yeah, I can agree. Like, I've never seen it so just disjointed. Like, obviously people disagree on stuff, but like, man, like some city news will come out and you'll go on Twitter to see what people are thinking, and you're just gonna you open replies of certain tweets and people are just going at it, man. Like I can't even put my finger on it. I think Luke got it right in a tweet, but I think it was Luke who put it out, and I think it was him who put it, and it was like last season has like left permanent damage, or like some big damage on the club's fan base, and a part of me agrees with it, with everything, because like before last season, from my memory anyway, I don't remember it being this bad. But since last season, since everything that happened and whatnot, 1-14 and everything, since all that, some people just they want probably more than they're ever gonna get, and some people, just they're not happy with what gets done, and there just seems to be so many different parts of the fan base that have different thoughts on different subjects, and it's just hard to get like a proper uniting of certain stuff at the moment.
Yeah, and to be fair, we're all guilty of it at sometimes, but like I think some people take it to the extreme. Like, we're going to disagree with people, all of us are, don't lie. We're going to disagree with people and we're going to say it. But people just take it to extremes, And I've seen on Twitter today, I posted something out about like Trafford, like how many minutes will he get, blah, blah, blah. Someone told me, or well, he didn't tell me, but he told someone else, because I replied to something, that if you don't think Trafford should start over Ederson, you're a retard. Which, by the way, was never the claim of the original post. I'm pretty sure the original post just backed the question of, will Pep give Trafford's immediate go-ahead to start? It wasn't even saying that Trafford should be behind Ederson. Like, some people, like, this is what I mean. Yeah, disagree all you want. We all do that, but some people just, like, they take it way too far.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not just the fact that they disagree so strongly, it's that they open a conversation that way. It's not even that they get salty when they're talking to someone. They open the conversation that way.
Yeah, I know. It's like they just. It seems like they're almost seeking like an argument or something like that. And I just don't get it. Like I'm more than willing to like talk to and talk about topics. You know, like I know we've discussed like pep in and pep out before, and it tends to be a pretty cool conversation and tons of other talks. It's fine to disagree, but like saying what that guy said, saying what so many people said, it's like the same as like giving death threats to a player. It's like it's just out of order, man. And at the end of the day, it's football, and we all want to talk about it because we're all, at least most of us, are passionate about it, and we all care for the same club. But like, there is a line, and you can. And for me, it's quite hard to cross because it never even crosses my mind to say stuff like that. But for some people, man, they just seem to do it, and I do wonder what goes through their head, and when they don't, man, because I just
that's the problem. You assume that something is going on in their head.
Yeah.
That's also what's happening here. Big up to Big Tummy, by the way. Now, I don't like talking about other YouTubers, just right off the bat, but Martin called me a fake City fan because I don't rate Foden, which I think is a wild opinion, but fair enough. And wants Pep gone, which if we go to Douglas next season, which I completely agree with. Now, Martin has admitted that he's gone in too heavily at some people sometimes. That is fair. Listen, Martin isn't trying to be rude here, but with all passion. I can't remember what the person was. There was someone in my chat a few days ago, and I was ranting about Ederson, and he came in and he was telling me that I was wrong about Ederson, yada yada. And like, when you are in the middle of your rant and someone comes in and tells you, hey, you're wrong because of this and this and this, you can explode at them, which I did. I did apologize in the same stream because I said that was a bit over the top of me. But sometimes you do go off on people because you are passionate about something. That's the thing, yeah. Passion is a double-edged blade. So we all do it, but some people are over the top and unapologetic about it. That is my real problem. Listen, we're all salty, by the way. Martin is salty, I'm salty, you are salty, let's be honest. Connect is salty as well. We're all salty because we had a bad season. That's how football goes. Big up to Rosa, by the way. Let me just pen this comment quickly. There you go. Anyhow, enough talk about the fan base being in the meltdown. We've known that for a while now. Something more interesting. We signed this guy called TRAFFORD. You ever heard of him?
Once or twice, I heard some rumors.
Go on, I was asking your opinion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of Trafford, we obviously sold him to Burnley for, I think it was 19 million, but we'll say 20 million, because why not? And 2 years on, it looks like we're bringing him back. Well, not looks like we are. Medical, I think, is going to be on Monday. Probably going to get the signing announced like Wednesday or Tuesday, maybe Thursday at the latest, I reckon. Which is about in line of when the squad gets back to training. And for me, I like the signing, and it sounds like that it's going to be Ortega who leaves at the moment. He's been linked to Burnley and Leicester. He becomes number 2, and then gets...
Just to interject, Victor, do you think he'll sign for Ireland then? Because he won't get to wait to stay that he gets here.
I think he's a bit better than at least Championship level. I don't think he belongs in Championship, Ortega. And I think he deserves to be in a club that is solidly in the Premier League. Burnley, they could easily go back down next season, especially with Scott Parker.
So, what are we talking here? Are Wolves or West Ham? Is that the level you're talking about?
Just trying to think of where he could go.
Not where he could go, but like maybe the level of the club that you think about.
Probably, I'd say he's at least in that mid-table bracket. Maybe, I know Crystal Palace in Europe, maybe Crystal Palace is, like you said, your Wolves, your West Hams. I don't think he's the club he got linked with last summer, which was Bayern Munich. I don't think he's that level.
Maybe on the bench, but he wants to play, right?
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
problem.
He wants first team football. He's been pretty clear on that since last summer. But we managed to keep him, and this summer, I think if he's going to leave, I don't think he's going to want to go to another club and be their bench keeper. So, yeah, I think a mid-table Premier League team, potentially a mid-table Premier League team that's kind of pushing for Europe a little bit as well. I think
you know what though, yeah, because you do say he won't want to leave for sitting on the bench. If I think about Bayern München, it won't happen, I think. But if I think about Bayern München, it is the dream of a German player to go there. So
true.
Maybe Bayern München is the exception to that.
Bayern Munich, it's a good point to be fair. Bayern Munich probably is the exception because, like you said, it's most German players' dream. They're like the biggest club in Germany, and they more often than not they win the Bundesliga as well. Before Leverkusen won it, they won it like 10 times in a row.
11 times.
11 times. There you go.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Club Brugge won the Belgian Super Cup, which is a professional game in England. Because in England it's a charity game. You're allowed more substitutions than in real football. With that trophy, we have 12 seasons in a row with one or more trophies, which is more than Bayern München's 11. There you go.
There you go. Club Brugge over Bayern.
We're winning the Champions League next. It's a treble coming up.
Man, I hope they don't beat us on the way through.
No, don't worry. Man City won't get to the round of 16.
Yeah, we'll get knocked out of the round of 16 qualifiers by Madrid again or something.
No, fuck Madrid. Let's do it more entertaining this time. Let's say Celtic. Celtic got in.
Yeah, probably. They probably are. Yeah, gosh.
Imagine if we lost to Celtic. Imagine the meltdown then.
Man,
at least Madrid was justifiable because it is Madrid, right?
It's Madrid, but Celtic. I don't know how I'd cope, especially with everything, man. I genuinely don't know how I'd cope. I'd be curious to see where we are in the league at that kind of point if we're losing to Celtic. And over 2 games as well, because it's obviously 2-legged.
Over 2 games, 1-0 aggregates. Super boring game, Man City have 80% possession, and the only goal is an own goal of like Ruben Diaz or something.
Gosh.
Yeah, with the way he's already getting murdered.
I know. Gosh, that would be horrendous. I don't know.
One thing I'll say though is that Twitter would be entertaining for no good reasons.
There is that. Yeah, Twitter will be on fire after a result like that, and in the manner of it as well. Imagine an own goal, boring 180 minutes. Man, it would just remind me. I think the most boring game I've ever watched is probably that derby last season. Now, jeez, that was.
I got something more boring.
Go on.
Atletico Madrid in Champions League. It was nerve-wracking, but it was boring.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the one thing that saves that one is the nerve-wracking part. The fact that it was like so tense. That is like the one thing that kind of saves it. But the United game, man, like watching that, I can't believe I kept my eyes open. Like it was. So
I did
bad.
it. I was scrolling through Twitter while watching that.
I hardly blame you. I can't believe I didn't go do something. I genuinely can't believe I sat down and just watched that for a straight 90 minutes, man. Jeez, that was awful.
I need to get a second monitor here because sometimes what I'll do is I'll split screen the game and like Twitter if the game is really boring. I need to get a second monitor for that.
Yeah.
Our best starting 11 doesn't move me. Liverpool and Arsenal squads look infinitely better. Well, infinitely is a bit much, but I do think Liverpool have a better squad. Do you think Arsenal have a better squad? Because I still think they have loads of issues.
Arsenal squad is obviously good, and Gyökeres only adds to that. To be fair, I still think there are definitely some like areas that can be improved. Like I know left back Lewis Skelly's obviously breaking through, and I know Calafiori's not too bad either. But I don't feel like they've truly I think Lewis Skelly, the rate he's going, he could probably make that into his own. Although I think he's been to play too much.
You know what I compared Lewis Skelly a bit to? Like you see, Rico Lewis starts out well when he plays here and there, but then when he starts regularly, he gets murdered. I feel like Lewis Skelly could be the same type of thing there because they're a very similar profile of player as well. Lewis Skelly is maybe a bit more physical, but not a lot.
Yeah, I actually can see that because again, players will just figure it out, and like you said, he is a bit more physical, but you get like a big guy running down that wing. It can be difficult. Rico struggles physically all the time. I don't know how many times I've said that he needs to go to the gym with Ruben Diaz and bulk up a bit, because I think he could really use it. Because technically he's not too bad, Rico. And passing the ball he's not awful either. But the moment he gets pressed, I'm in fear that he's going to lose that ball. Which doesn't always any good.
Diaz is in the gym all the time, but no results.
Yeah, there is that. There is that, isn't there? Maybe Haaland. He's a pretty big guy. Yeah, man.
And that's how to set that, by the way, about Diaz. Big up, by the way, says Liam. This is City. Thanks for the great connect.
Yeah, I gave him right. No problem.
Big up to Caxco as well in chat here. Viana incomings are all good so far. Now we need outgoings desperately. Personally, I said at the start of the window, or before the window even, a right back, a goalkeeper, and outgoings. I said that's my priorities. We've not got a right back. We've finally got a goalkeeper, so okay, I'm going to be chill on that. But outgoings still, I think, was most people's priority. We still have everyone. We still have everyone. And Gundogan, I'm not sure if you saw this, Gundogan is probably sane.
I mean, for me, we got the bulk of the summer done before the Club World Cup. I was very happy with that. And like you said, right back was my top priority, and goalkeeper definitely as well. And we got the goalkeeper, so can't complain for that. And I'm happy with Trafford. He's also homegrown too, which helps on that department. But now we need to get the right back, and outgoings. Jack Grealish is still here, and he's not heavily linked with anyone really. There's a couple links here and there, but there's no defiant links. Gundogan, he's obviously been very linked with Galatasaray, but nothing seems to be going through. One of the keepers is leaving. There's no way they don't, and it's looking like Ortega, because I don't think Ortega is going to settle for third choice keeper.
Fourth choice potentially. Where does Pep even rate Bettinelli? Could be fourth choice.
Yeah, true. And Edison has obviously been linked out a bit for a while, but I think he's going to stay now, complete his final season, probably complete the contract, and then Trafford probably takes the number one spot, if I had to guess.
That's what I'm guessing as well. That seems to be the plan. I think Ederson, I think if he has a bad game, a really bad game, which we know he will have, he has some bad games here and there, and then Trafford maybe plays in a cup game and plays really well. I mean, we all know where that's going if that happens, don't we? So I think Ederson may actually leave in January, depending on the situation. Now, if we're top of the table, which I don't think we will be, but if we are top of the table, in January, nobody will complain about the right back, nobody will complain about the goalkeeper, even if they play poorly. Because as long as we are top of the table, for the lack of better words, glory hunters, that's maybe the wrong word to use, but the glory hunters, just for the sake of argument, will not be complaining if you are top of the league, because that's all they care about. They care about results, not performances. That's what they say, right? So I think they can play as bad as they want as long as we're top of the league. My problem is we won't be at that top. I think we'll be second, third, maybe even fourth for the most of the season. Big Dummy, by the way, said he also blamed, I'm assuming he means Pep, Gusnov for losing to Madrid when it was Guardiola at fault for Mbappe's goal. I didn't see that personally. Do you know about that? Because I think that's mainly a media thing. I don't think that's Pep.
Nah, no, I've not seen like anyone like City associated this Kusanov. I love the look of Kusanov. I think he looks top, and I really want to see the Vardy Kusanov partnership, but it feels like a fever dream at the moment. I can't remember Pep slating Kusanov. I know he didn't play much after that. I think his final start for the club, I think, was Bournemouth in the Cup, and then he got subbed off. But other than that, I can't remember him getting slated. He obviously had that difficult start, but I think everything after that was fine. He got Player of the Month. Yeah, can't really remember.
Yeah, he did get played over the bond. Steve says we're hurting after last year. Give us a right back and another midfielder, and we're done. And maybe I'm getting you confused with someone else, Steve. My apologies, but didn't you say centre back yesterday? Maybe I'm confusing you with someone else, but I'm pretty sure you said centre back. Anyhow, another right back is fine for me. Crucial even for me. A midfielder is fine. I don't know if we need it though, because like I'm thinking Rodri Gonzalez, should Gonzalez stay? Reinders, O'Reilly. Is O'Reilly playing midfield? Is he playing left back? I have no idea. I'm going to be honest. And then Sherky or Foden. One of them is going to be the 10. One of them is going to be the right winger. So let's say Foden, for the argument's sake. Foden and Echeverri. I think you've got two midfielders in every midfield spot, to 6, to 8, to 10. So I'm not sure if our midfielder is what we need right now. Now, if O'Reilly goes into the backup left back spot, sure, get another midfielder, right? Or more than Gibbs White. I mean, Gibbs White isn't happening, but like an example. Then sure, go get another midfielder. But I'm not sure if midfield really is a priority right now. What do you think?
For me, we've got like a rather crowded midfield. You know, you just filled 6 slots and used Echeverri in that. Again, like you said, Shirky could very well play in that 10. But also, we've still got Kova, we've still got Gundo, and we've still got Bernardo. We've still got the Younks.
Oh, yeah.
So our midfield is
Bernardo
packed
will
right
play,
now.
by the way. He's capped. He will play.
Yes, he is going to play. I disagree with him being... I think he speaks well, Bernardo, but he doesn't strike me as a captain. You know, I think he speaks well in the dressing room, and I think he'll never like put a bad word in. And I think he's open to like criticism as well. I don't think he'd ever like slate the club or anything like that. You know, I think he'd be 10 times better than Bernardo and then Kyle Walker in an interview, because Kyle Walker's interviews were poor to say the least. But yeah, we still got Gundo out of the club. We still got Kova. And Bernardo is obviously not leaving. So we've still got like midfielders who are potentially leaving. You know, Echeverri going on loan.
It's going on loan. I was just about to say. Do you think Kovacic stays then for one more year? Because I know he's injured, but it's my thing. Yeah, he's a quality player, but not good enough to start for Man City. So I think it's too good to be on the bench, but too bad to start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he needs to go somewhere else, and I think he still has quality. So I think someone will buy if they're willing to accept a lower fee for Kovacic. By the way, I just saw this commentator. Who lives close to the beach? Heard seagulls moments ago, or maybe I'm tripping. There's absolutely no way you can hear those seagulls, but I know that seagulls are out here sometimes, but there's absolutely no way you can hear them. So that can't be from me, because I have suppression on my microphone. If I go stand there and say something, you're not going to hear it. So there's no way you hear the seagulls outside of here.
Yeah, it's definitely me.
You live close to the beach?
Yeah, and literally I walk 5 minutes and I'm there.
Okay, there you go. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you do now.
So you're a Brighton fan, right?
No.
Because you've seagulls.
Found me out.
You know what, yeah? This is about to be the biggest whiplash ever. I watch Trash Taste a lot. Like every morning when I wake up, I put on Trash Taste as I do my morning routine. And that's a podcast, if you don't know all this. It's an anime podcast. But
Oh, cool.
one of the members, Gardens, well, they never talk about anime anymore, let's be honest. But theoretically, it is an anime podcast. Gardens is a Brighton fan. So it's always funny to hear when suddenly Gardens mentions football. And it's so obvious the other two don't care about football. It's always so funny. Anyhow, let me read out this comment. It was reported that City is fed up with Rodrigo's agents. You seen that? Because I've not actually seen that. Their lack of professionalism is a problem. Apparently some frustration with professionalism. I've not seen that, personally.
Yeah, I've not seen that. I'll quickly check City Extra, but I haven't seen anything for that.
I mean, if that's true, again, I've not seen that myself, but if that's true, it means Rodrigo. I mean, was Rodrigo ever really on? I feel like Rodrigo is on the way that, like, Rodrigo is on to Arsenal, right? It's like, yeah, they're going to talk about it, but it isn't going to happen. So that's what I kind of felt like with Rodrigo. I guess that means he's not coming. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's true, though. I'm sorry. I'll defend Husanov. He was thrown into deep end and actually brought stability to our defense. I agree with that. He was thrown into deep end completely. He couldn't even speak English. He had no idea what the players next to him were saying.
Yeah, that was it was a tough start for Kusanov, and it did show in the Chelsea game in those early moments. And after that, like tough 10-minute period, the players did kind of help cushion him a little bit, almost like protect him a bit. But I think he did brilliantly with even with the language block. He was absolutely thrown into the deep end. His debut was against Chelsea, and I know Chelsea last season. They weren't in the back end of it anyway. The second half, I know they weren't phenomenal, but Chelsea's still a solid team at the time, and did possess attack and threat, and the communication just wasn't there partly, which ultimately did lead to I feel was probably a main catalyst in the error. But I think after that game, I think he was brilliant.
Yeah, like the shampoo moments, which definitely happens.
Ah, yeah. Gosh.
I can't believe how many people actually fell for that, by the way. It was the most obvious joke ever.
I know, man. That tweet blew up, and it was huge. I can't believe it. I saw someone enter my chat and was saying "Oh, this is why Pep hates Kusanov," and I was like, "What?" because he called him shampoo. What?
By the way, wasn't that tweet by a troll account? I can't remember who posted that, but I think it was a troll account, right? But no, I will defend Kusanov as well, though. I think he's a brilliant player. But my thing is with Kusanov, he can be rash sometimes. Maybe with people telling him calm down, that would help. And obviously, go and talk to people before. But he can be rash sometimes. And that's because he's young. Young defenders, they're going to be rash. It's that simple. Young defenders will be rash. There's no two ways about it. My thing, though, with Kusanov is he went to France, did not speak a word of French, was still learning French, when suddenly he went to Man City, to England, Manchester, didn't speak a word of English, barely spoke French, which he had been learning for the past half a year. His fiancé was still in Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan. Sorry, I forgot.
Uzbekistan.
His fiancé was still in Uzbekistan. He still had to get moved in, which thankfully our club helps with that. A lot of clubs don't. So he had to move in, lived in a completely different city again, for the second time in 6 months. Had to play a completely different brand of football for the second time in 6 months. I think when you factor all of that in, it's honestly a surprise he even played a single good game. And he played multiple very good games. And one player of the month, as you said earlier. That, to me, shows incredible, maybe not skill. I think skill he shows on the pitch, but it shows mental fortitude for me.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You know, like you said, it's beyond just the language block. It's learning the culture of the country as well. It's learning everything because, you know, and partly the pressure of joining the Premier League as well. You know, everything would have been on top of his head, and to perform how he did is only commendable in my opinion. And I really hope that Pep remembers that going into next season. I really, really hope so. Like, if I see this summer Kusanov go on loan, I'd be furious because I already think that the Vital Hayes situation is a bit of a sham. I already think that is a hard watch. And to see that, I know they've kind of been snubbed now, but to see that Nico Gonzalez at one point was linked to a move away, I think.
Oh, he's been linked again. I think, you know what I think it is? I think it's because his agent is George Mendes, of course. I think George Mendes is just throwing his stories in the ground, basically. I think he's because this guy, he doesn't want players to stay. He wants players to move, because every time they move, he gets money, and more importantly, he goes to the Ballon d'Or ceremony and wins his 15th Best Agent of the Year award. He's won more of those awards in the same time that Messi has played football. Like, he won 14 of those in the same time that Messi won 8 Ballon d'Ors. Imagine if Messi won 14 Ballon d'Ors. In other words, if he won every Ballon d'Or of Ronaldo, that takes him to 30, and then won the Modric Ballon d'Or as well. He's won the Ballon d'Or 14 times in a row.
Yeah, I know. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. Yeah, you are right though with what you said with Mendes there. Yeah, you know, he's after that. He's after those prestige rewards, you know, and he's probably after big agent fees as well, because whenever a player gets a move, the agent probably has to start working somewhat overtime, which probably means he gets like a little bonus or something. I know that does tend to factor in. So, you know, every time a player gets a move, especially if it's a big club move, you know, the agent gets a nice big sum of money in his wallet as well. So yeah, it makes sense to want to play on the move constantly. I really hope Nico Gonzalez doesn't go, because I think from what we saw, he looked solid, and I just don't get why he would why we'd even be thinking about getting rid of him. And to be honest, you know, I thought he looked absolutely fine, but maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I ain't got the brains Pep does.
Maybe you do. Maybe you're a genius.
Yeah.
There you go. Connect for the manager. Connect in. Pep out. Connect in.
I'll be there. I'll be wearing City tops on the touchline.
Actually, you're not allowed. Did you know you're not allowed? The manager is not allowed to wear a shirt on the touchline, like a jersey. Did you know that?
What a sham!
No, it's because like it can be like I believe the rule was like it's confusing or something like that. I don't think it's a rule. I think it's a guideline. Like you can do it, but it's you get you get asked not to do it, right? I think it's that way.
Yeah,
which makes sense in my opinion. Otherwise, if the manager just shows up in a kit, it could be confusing, I guess, if it's a younger manager. Anyhow. Trossard and Martinelli are really bad. Arsenal have problems down their left side. I was talking about this earlier. They have no left back at the moment. Calafiori defensively is shambles, bro. He's very good going forward, funny enough. But defending left back is shambles. In midfield, they don't have a 10 either. And Arsenal don't really play with a 10. They play like a they'll either play a double pivot and like an 8 in front of that instead of a 10. Normally you play a double pivot and a 10. But they play like a double pivot and an 8. And then one of the double pivots goes up and down, which is a very weird system, but it does work, to be fair, usually. And what they also do is they'll play with one DM and with 2 8-10s, kind of what Man City did in 17-18. So they don't really play with a 10. But I think they don't play with a 10 because they don't have a 10. It's not because they don't want to play with a 10, it's because they don't have a 10. So they're lacking in that regard, and they're having to come up with weird systems to compensate Ødegaard, because he's an 8, not a 10. He just doesn't have the vision. Sure, he has the passes and stuff, but not the vision, not consistently. He also doesn't just have the goals, to be honest. At 10, you expect to chip in with the goals sometimes. Ødegaard doesn't do that. So their entire left-hand side, it's weak, especially if Ødegaard is playing on the left-hand side, it's weak. So I do think, we've got problems. I think Arsenal have bigger problems, which are going to be exposed next season. Because this season they got a bit lucky, I think, that the rest of the Premier League was bad. I think next season the level of the Premier League is going to be a lot higher. I think they're going to get exposed a few times down that left-hand side, especially if Lewis Skelly is playing left back. I'm sorry, Lewis Skelly, you are not ready to be a starting left back in the Premier League.
No, I don't think he's there yet. He's picked up quite a few reds. That's why he's showing the immaturity, and that will come in time. Obviously, we just spoke about young defending and whatnot, but yeah, I think Arsenal would be a bit naive to kind of put that all on Lewis Skelly, not just because of his, partly because he's, what is he, 18, if that,
I believe he's 19 this season.
19. Even then, like, still so young, and to just kind of put that on him, he's obviously talented. He's obviously got something there. But if I was Arsenal, I would be looking to bring in a solid left back. It doesn't need to be someone who's like 22 or 23. You don't need to sign someone with high potential. Just sign someone who's probably in their best years, who can play, and Lewis Skelly can even potentially learn under. I think potentially Teo Hernandez, for example, probably that profile. A player that is about, I think Teo Hernandez was like 28. Player who's quite high in his career, at a point where he wanted the move. Obviously, that move's off the table now, obviously. But I think a player like that could have been solid, maybe. And I know this guy's a right back, but similar profile to, say, like Dumfries as well. Someone that's experienced, someone that's in their better years, but won't be like for super long. And again, just someone that Lewis Skelly can learn under. I do agree though that the left-hand side of Arsenal is exposable. Especially that the left winger side. It's not super threatening. I know Martinelli has been struggling for a bit now. Trossard's just, he's a bit and like you said, Ødegaard's not got the goals to provide to be the 10 that some people do think he is. Because like Phil Foden in the 23-24 season is a bit more of a 10. A very attacking 10, a 10 that definitely chips in more in the goals than he does in the assists, but a 10 nonetheless. And I think Arsenal need to find that. It could be Nwaneri, but again, he's so young too. And they need to find someone that can fill these roles for them and fill them properly until their younger players are actually ready and to take on that kind of responsibility.
Yeah. By the way, I've got a question here from India Always. Which is a statement signing for the Man City after the Guardiola? I don't care about statement signings. I care about good signings personally. I think Rangers is a good player. I don't worry that it's not a statement signing. Sherky, maybe not a statement signing because you then pay big for him, but I think he's quality. So statement signing, not too worried about. I just want good quality players. So I don't think we've had any real statement signings, but I'm not too worried about that either.
Nah, it doesn't worry me. You know, like I'd much rather spend 46 million quid on Reinders, who I think looks top, and I think he's going to be phenomenal. I just think he looks great, than spend 100 million on a Jack Grealish profile-esque player that could very well fall away, and suddenly that's 100 million that you won't have back. Vardio was obviously a statement signing, and that has excelled for me. I think he's so good, and I'm not, and I don't disagree with getting statement signings. Like I've said that I want City to get Livramento, and like you said, if we won the Club World Cup, we could have maybe gone really big for him. And you know, I wouldn't have minded that because it's about getting the right profile for me. And you know, Reinders definitely fit that profile for me. Shirky, such a talented player by the looks of it. Aït-Nouri, probably not like super high on the list in positions we've needed, as we've spoken about in the past, but still a solid player. And the fee and just the dimensions of the deal.
For me, Nouri is a luxury player. It's great to have him. We didn't need him, but it's great to have him, and he improves us. So I think that's a luxury signing, which I don't mind as long as you get your required positions as well. So a right back is real. That's the last thing I'm complaining about. And people, I'm going to go on a bit of a rant here, but I'll let you go after that. People say, "Oh, we didn't have a right back for, or we didn't have a left back for so long. Why is lacking a right back now a problem?" Well, my opinion on that is we need a right back for the balance, because in the past, when we didn't have a left back, we put Cancelo, who was technically a right back, at left back, and he played just fine. And when Cancelo did not play left back, it was Aki, and he played just fine. So, okay, we didn't have a left back, but we had players who played at left back comfortably. Moreover, the rest of our team was better. Ederson was better than he is now. Our defense with John Stones, call me crazy. He would have been the best defender of all time. Forget Premier League, best defender of all time, if he had not all his injuries. The levels he reached, considering all his injuries, are insane. He is in best Premier League defender of all time debates without those injuries. He would have walked any other Premier League defender if he didn't have those injuries. In the treble season, he had like one minor injury. He was unreal that season. So we had John Stones and Ruben Diaz, which was an unreal partnership. We had Rodri, Gundogan, prime Gundogan, De Bruyne, not in his prime anymore, but I mean, it's De Bruyne. So we had those three in midfield, and we had an attack at different points of like Sane, Aguero, Sterling, and Haaland, and whoever else we played. Usually it was Grealish, sometimes Silva, sometimes Mahrez. So we had a very fluid, or we had a very good team, well-balanced team, even without a left back. I feel like the right back situation is different. We don't have anyone who can competently play the right back role. Okay, maybe Husanov. Sure, I'll give you Husanov. But he's 21, barely speaks English, he's going to make mistakes. When playing someone out of position, you want that player to be more experienced. That's my opinion. Again, you're free to disagree with that, but I want the best players to play in their position, and I want the young players to play in a position they're comfortable with. Right back for Husanov, I don't think he's comfortable. So for those reasons, all of those reasons and the balance of the team, I think a right back now is more crucial than a left back maybe 2 years ago was.
Yeah, 100% get everything you're saying. You know, like you said, left back 2 years ago, we had players that could fill that role competently. Joao Cancelo, like you said, a right back playing at left back, Ake, a centre back playing at left back, and they both did great jobs in that area, and both for different reasons as well. You know, they were both very good at doing that. But like you said, like now we don't really have a recognizable player that can do that for us. You know, Nunez has obviously done pretty good there, and I'm happy with it. But on Kusanov, yeah, I 100% agree. By the way, I'd much rather a young player play in some way he's comfortable with, where he can build some confidence before he's told to reach out a bit and go to places where he's not as comfortable. Now, if he goes to a place where he's uncomfortable and smashes it from the get-go, fair play. Nico Riley could be an example of that. A midfielder playing at left back, absolutely cooked there. But I don't want that to be every player. I'd much rather, like you said, players learn the system where they are comfortable with for the young ones, and then have players that can actually play that position properly there, you know. And that's why I think, like you said, we need a right back. You know, that's why I'd really like a Livramento or just a right back on a whole. I think Livramento is like the dream target, but I think he's too out of reach, to be honest. I don't think Newcastle are going to let him go, especially if Isak goes, which is looking a bit more likely now, especially as they're looking to bring in Sesko. You know, I would love Livramento. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, and because of that, I only really have Nunez at right back, and even then, I still worry about Nunez playing in this squad. Maybe too harshly, but I don't know. My stomach is always turning a little bit with Nunez at right back, despite the fact that he plays decently there. He just doesn't have my full confidence. So yeah, I 1,000,000% agree that we need a right back, you know, and I think it's a good point. You know, a few years ago, we were fine without a left back, despite not having like a definitive left back for a while. But it's different now, you know. We need that, and I'd much rather players play comfortably where they are, especially players like our more injury-prone players. I'd much rather them play where they know, because I feel like if they go in a position that they don't know, they're more likely to make an error, and then even they will probably try and go the extra mile to make up for their mistake because of their inexperience in that area, and then suddenly maybe they're injured again. You know, that could very well happen to a John Stones. Nathan Ake, I'm a bit more confident in because he's played a ton of minutes in that kind of area, but yeah, I will right back.
Do City fans, by the way, believe Grealish will go or wages too high for another club? Liverpool goals. Bro, I'm gonna tell you, you probably know more what City fans think than Man City fans at this point. Bro, I have no idea what this fan base is at. You can go to 10 different City fans, yeah, you'll get 10 different answers. You ask me, I think he'll go because he wants to play football. What Connect's answer is to that, I don't know. I see Patrick on Twitter saying Grealish needs to stay and play as a midfield. I see people say he needs to stay, be a backup winger. I see people say he needs to go out on loan. I see people say grip up his contract. There's so many different takes on that. So what's yours, Connect?
For me, I think it's probably a mix of where you are and where that guy said with the wages. You know, one thing I'm 1,000,000% against is him going on loan. I don't want him on loan. If he's gonna go, I want him to go. I'm sick of seeing Calvin Phillips go on loan. It triggers me every time. It absolutely gets me going, because for me, loaning, okay, it's always been in my head a system where you loan out a player and that could potentially come back and bring something to your team. I know it's not the case every time. Sometimes it can just be a case of getting the player out quickly. But for me, that is like the primary use of loaning. Calvin Phillips has no future here. he has no future. He absolutely proved that at West Ham because he stunk out the park there, and he wasn't even starting for Ipswich for most of the games he was available.
By the way, just as we're talking here about Grealish, guess what I see on my Twitter feed?
Oh gosh, here we go.
Jack Grealish via Instagram. Wonderful. I don't know why he always says wonderful. But much needed break with good people. Motivated and ready to go again. Go again? Where?
Yeah.
You going back to Aston Villa?
One thing's for sure, like I like Grealish, but he cannot be going again here. Like I think that book needs to close now. I like Grealish. He seems like a decent dude. And he did good things for us. He had a great purple patch in the treble season, and I think I will be, and a lot of other City fans will be forever grateful for that. But there comes a time where you just got to close it. And for me, you've got to get him out this summer. He wants to go. He wants to go. It's mutual consent. Everyone wants it. And I think the one thing holding it back potentially is the wage bill. I don't know if Grealish is willing to potentially sacrifice some of his wage for a move. And if he isn't, then that is not helping him. If he is, then brilliant. The move becomes probably a bit easier. But it's a lot more difficult without it, and clubs are probably skeptical of the fee as well. We're probably going to try and push for 40 million quid for him. And I don't know if clubs are going to be that willing to go 40.
I'll say this. I just don't think they are. I think he needs to drop his wages.
Yeah, absolutely. His wages are ridiculous, man. Like
it's 300k if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, it's something like that. It's in that area. It's KDB-esque numbers of wages. I think KDB was earning a bit more, but he's still.
I think KDB was 350k in his last year, I believe.
There you go then. Not far under KDB's wage bill, and for a player that hasn't, I don't think, delivered anywhere near the contribution KDB has. He's on ridiculous wages for the caliber of player he is, which is not a 300k player.
But remember, Rand does not rate KDB.
There you go.
You know what, yeah? I tuned into a stream of his. I never watch his streams. I'm subscribed to him. Big up, support every football content creator. I tuned into a stream of his just because no one else was live. I'll swear it down. The moment I clicked on his stream, yeah, he was talking about KDB and he said he's not even a top 30 midfielder in the Premier League. And I literally just clicked off right there.
That's madness. It's got to be rage bit.
Like, it has to be. Like, if you go to Gerrard, like, who are typically considered the top 3 midfielders in the Premier League, excluding KDB? It's Gerrard, Scholes, and Lampard, right?
Yeah.
All 3 of them said KDB is the best ever in the Premier League. All 3 of them.
KDB is ridiculous, and I don't know when we're going to see a player like him again. I don't even know if I doubt it because of how good KDB is. But I don't even know if Florian Wirtz is that kind of player. For me, KDB.
He's the only player to get more assists in European leagues than Messi. He's the only player.
It's nuts. He is a phenomenon in what he does. The passes he sees are absolutely wild. You can just think of unreal passes off the top of your head that KDB has done because of just how ridiculous he is. He is truly ridiculous. A player like him doesn't just pop up overnight. And since not even top 30, like, it almost gets to me, but then it doesn't because it's laughable. I feel
you just have to step back and say you're trolling. That's what you have to do. Grealish isn't serious about football. I agree and disagree. I think he used to be serious about football. We won the treble. He's done everything he wanted to do, and then I think his mind kind of went.
Yeah. Again, he's hit that. He hit the dream height, and more than that, he was also playing his best football at the troubled time too. Really locked in there, and he took his level to another level. But once you've hit the pinnacle of a level, like some players probably, I feel, lose a little bit of that fight to bring that back again. I'm not saying that maybe has happened for Grealish, but maybe it has happened. And you just think, every time he's trying to get himself up for it, he'll be thinking, oh, well, I've already done everything there is to do at this level. And
what I keep saying here, and I want to know your opinion on this. If I was a professional footballer, and let's say at the age of 25, let's just say theoretically, at the age of 25, I've got 3 league titles in a top league, a Champions League, and a cup. Let's say I've got those things in a top league. Bro, I would be done with football. I would go on the beach. I'd drink like mad. I'd celebrate. I'd do parties. I'd live rich life. I'm gonna be honest. I would not be humble. I would live rich life because I would be rich, and I've done everything I want to do in football at that point. Maybe winning the World Cup, but with Belgium, I'm not going to win the World Cup. Unless it's a really good team there with Belgium that I feel like might win the World Cup if I participated, then maybe I would go back and be serious to win the World Cup. But other than that, I would just be Neymar, basically, playing CSGO during the Ballon d'Or ceremony, where I'm finishing third. That'll be me. I can't lie. I think sometimes you forget what we would do if we were these footballers. I don't know. What's your take on that?
I mean, it's very honest, and for me, I wouldn't really know what I do, because, like you said, like you've done the dream. You've got a fair amount of medals from the league you desired to play in for your whole life. You've won the Champions League, the biggest trophy you can win at club level. And you've won a couple too along the way elsewhere, so you've done everything there is to do, and depending on your thoughts on international football, me personally, I like international football, but I'm not really that bothered. Like, I find it entertaining for me, but other than that, I'm not really bothered about it. That's why
you'd just not get to call up. You'd be called up, and you would say that. I'd say, "Yo, I'm doing my stuff."
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I'm gonna watch on the telly.
I'd hang up and I'd go back to playing my game.
Doom stream, man.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. Me personally, in my head, gosh, it feels weird to even think about how I would be at that level. Part of me would, if I was at my dream club, maybe I'd want to stay at that level. But man, once you hit the pinnacle, I don't know. Would I get too comfortable? But
I mean, if you're at the dream club, maybe.
Yeah.
But Man City was not Grealish's dream club either, was it?
Yeah, that's the thing. His boyhood club was Villa, and he did what he could with them at the time. I'll tell you one thing: if it wasn't at my dream club and I did everything, I think my head would go partly. I think my head definitely would go. If it was at my dream club, maybe I'm a bit more locked in. But
yeah,
man, if I was at like PSG, nah, I'm clocked off the moment I've done what I wanted to.
Yes, same probably. Which, to be fair, that's probably why we're not professional footballers. Because the mentality of those athletes is proper obsessive. So that's probably why we are professional athletes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Xavi Hernandez is available. Would you want him as manager? Because I would not mind him, but I don't actively want him either.
Xavi Hernandez. For me, I don't think he's an awful pick. I think there's definitely worse. I think he's a little bit of a risk because partly of how Barca got rid of him. He's not a bad choice, and he plays football that I think would probably be attractive to the club's way of play. But I don't know. Something about it for me feels a bit off. I would probably steer clear a little bit more, but man, if I saw him holding the scarf, I don't think I'd be ranting and raving. I think I'd be like, okay, let's see how it goes. A little bit of a risk, but sure, why not? Have a bit of fun.
Yeah, sure. I don't mind it, but it's just not my first pick for me.
No, definitely not.
But by the way, I just want to say, Blue Friday show used to always have thumbnails, right? I've stopped doing thumbnails on Blue Friday show. The first time I did without a thumbnail was the most views I ever got on a Blue Friday show. So there you go.
Nice.
Since then, I've never been below 150 views on a Blue Friday show stream. So apparently, just no thumbnail is better, apparently. Why do we even make thumbnails on YouTube? Why do I waste my time? Because whenever I don't use a thumbnail, except for the transfer news is the only exception. When I don't do a thumbnail, it does better. The only time a thumbnail does better is transfer news, apparently. Amarim is not the worst coach, but very limited because he only has one way of playing. And you know what? I'd say the same about Pep right now.
Yeah, I think it's a good point on Pep, specifically. You know, Pep has his way, and he can be very set in his ways. Sometimes, you know, we all know Pep can be a bit stubborn. And stubbornness is probably what's helped him get to where he is. But he also needs to be open to change, which we've discussed. And yeah, I think you do have to change in this league, and you do have to reinvent how you play. And I don't know if Pep would be up for that. As for Amarim, I just think United's an absolute mess. I don't think many coaches, if any, could go there and save that sinking ship.
It's not a sinking ship. It's that ship is bottom of the sea. You're asking to bring Titanic up from the water. You know how to do a mission? Every history nerd knows this. There was a mission to bring Titanic from the bottom of the sea back up to like the top. But they had to invent new radar technology to fucking find it. Just to find it. When they found it, they had to invent new submarines to get deep enough to get to it. When they invented those submarines, they weren't strong enough, so they had to invent new submarines. So they had to invent 3 things just to attempt to take the Titanic up. And when they attempted it, they realized it's a ship underwater. It's brittle as fuck. It's gonna fall apart.
Yeah, I mean...
that is what he has to do right now. I feel like that it's a ship that's underwater. The moment you try to put pressure on it, because when you lift it, it's going to get pressure. It's going to break apart. That's what's happening, I think. You try to lift one part up, the bottom falls out.
Yeah, United. I think United is exactly that. You know, no, I don't think any coach can come in. You know, that coach and that club needs stripping from inside and out and just completely redoing itself. But no, they're getting a huge new stadium instead, and are firing a ton of staff. So yeah, good luck to them. I'm all for watching United's. Is it even a crumble at this point? Is it more like a?
It's already crumbled.
Yeah,
it's just a clean up a job.
It's just rubble. Now, you know, I'm so curious to see how long it'll go on for. Long may it continue.
You know what? I don't want them to get relegated yet. I want them to lose a few more derbies, and then I want them to get relegated. To never be seen again.
It could happen this season at that rate.
I want them to be in the Premier League for another 5 seasons, so we can beat them in a bunch of derbies, give some embarrassing scorelines, and then they can get relegated.
Yeah, if they last that long.
If they last that long. Ederson is joining my club. I beg you, please take him. No offense, but he's not at that level anymore. Which statement? Sorry, this is comes from Erde. So yeah, I know I take a while to get through the comments. My apologies. There's just so many in here sometimes. God, where am I in chat? I'm just gonna go through chat quickly now because we're gonna round up. Let's go through chat quickly. You need specific players to make a system work. Talking about Amarim, but you could again say the same with Pep as Dummy points out, but we just talked about that earlier. So Gonzalez is off. Gundogan will play DM again. What a disaster. Do you think Gonzalez leaves? Because, I mean, we talked a bit about this earlier.
I don't even know, man. Like, I can't even like clarify most of our players' futures at the moment this summer. It's still so uncertain. I'd like to say he stays because I don't think he should leave. I don't think he deserves that. I think everything we've seen of him is promising, and I feel like it'd just be throwing it in his face to make him leave. Don't get me wrong, if he stunk out the park, then I could understand it more, despite it only being like 6 months. But sure, I think that if a club were to come in with a ridiculous offer, offering, like, let's say they offer us more than we paid for him, which would be insane, then I think the club probably would sell. But I don't think they'll sell for less than 60 mil. Well, yeah, I don't think they'll sell for less than that. But I really hope he stays.
Yeah, I hope he stays, but honestly, I have no idea at this point.
Yeah.
Cunha and Mbeumo will solve some of their problems, but their midfield is just not good enough. Look at what Anthony did at Man United and what he did at Betis. Look at what Sancho did at Dortmund and what he did at Man United. When you join Man United, bro, you don't fix problems. You become part of the problem. You can't be the hero of that club. That's what I think. Yes, Alf, I don't think Diaz is up to playing a high line, so we need a centre back. But we have Fusanov, so can't see it. Fair enough. That's why sending Yumaba on loan. Oh God, my agenda is agending. People are talking about Yumaba. Yeah, what's your take on Yumaba? I don't think you've watched a single game of him, have you?
Yeah, I'd be a liar to say that I'm an expert of him. The closest thing
I am.
Yes, I'm well aware. The closest I've come to watching anything of him is highlight reels and looking at his match ratings on FootMob, which all seem pretty promising, to be fair. For me, he sounds and looks pretty solid from what I'm seeing. He did really good in the French league for the time he was there, and he's back there now, right? Is he at Nice? Am I?
He's on loan to Nice now. Yes.
Yeah, he's at Nice now. I hope he does well there. Because if he does well again, next season we will lose centre backs. Like, we have to. Like, John Stone's contract running out, so I'd be shocked if he gets given an extension, especially because it'll be his 10th year. Don't think he'll go beyond that. So John Stone's on the way out. And I think you could very well see an Akanji or Ake go.
By the way, Nice is in Champions League, by the way.
There you go. Big ups to him then. It's a huge opportunity then for him to get experience on that top level, which is probably why I feel City probably lean towards that deal a bit more. I know Lyon were linked, but I think playing Champions League football will only help him and probably better his chances at getting a promising return. I'm a tad worried for him because, again, we all know that players that go on loan for City don't typically come back and become a first teamer.
But Trafford did just come back. I mean, he sold him.
Yeah, Trafford did, and even Zinchenko did for a bit. He was never, don't get me wrong, he was never top. He was never like all that, but he at least came back and became a squad player. Trust me, I know he's not top, but he at least came back, is what I'm trying to say. So there is a glimmer of hope, especially with Trafford. I think Trafford is the guy I should be looking at. And I really hope he just followed that trajectory a bit more. Maybe not the getting sold part
there. Kovacic looks bored against stronger opposition, just like Mateus Nunes. And I agree with this. And this is why I said earlier that I think he's good enough to be... I said he's too good to be on the bench, but not good enough to be a starting player. And I think that's the reason why. But we did talk about this earlier. I'm listening with earphones. I am too. What a coincidence. Please get me a world-class winger or another midfielder. I don't know why people want a winger, to be honest. Like, we've got Marmoush, who's going to play on the wing. Cherki, who's going to play on the wing. Bob, who people... usually the same people who are asking for the Bob are asking for the winger. Not everyone. I know Devious Ducky, for example, wants us to sell 2 wingers and bring in Rodrigo. But I see a lot of people say, I want Bob and I want a world-class winger. Now we've already got Marmoush and Cherki. Now you add Bob into that. And are you going to buy a world-class left winger and bench Marmoush, who's got most GA of any left winger last season? I don't see that personally.
Yeah, I think a world-class winger is a bit of a luxury. It's not something we necessarily need. You know, like I said, Marmoush just had the season of his life. You know, he performed brilliantly with Frankfurt, came to City and did similar. You know, he absolutely cooked with us. And we've just brought in Cherki, who can play on that right-hand side too. And if he's not playing there and he's playing at the 10, then Phil Foden's suddenly an option on that right side. You know, I don't think it's really something we need. We've got Doku as well. We've got Savinho. We've got Bob. And for the moment, we have Grealish.
Go talk to the Brighton fans outside about Grealish. Ask the Brighton fans if they want Grealish. There you go. You got Brighton fans outside.
Yeah, I'll go knock on a few doors. Offer them.
You got a dog as well. Is that Wolves?
It's not my one. Yeah, probably is Wolves.
You can go ask the Wolves fan as well.
Yeah, I'll offer them to everyone. Whoever wants them can have
them. There you go. You live in a villa, so maybe you can ask an Aston Villa fan.
Yeah.
No, that's Luke. That's Luke. Right, like what you call. He's one.
Yeah, of course.
President of Norway.
Yes.
Rodrigo is indecisive. He doesn't know what he wants. I mean, I don't know with that with Rodrigo. I think he's scared to leave. That's what I think.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, like you said, I don't know if he's willing to take that step. You know, he's already at Real Madrid. Why would he want to step away in his eyes? You know, he's at the pinnacle of football in terms of club levels. What he'll be thinking, he's winning trophies every year. Well, last year was a trophy-less one, to be fair, for Madrid. You know, he's winning trophies most year. You know, why would he want to leave? The only way he leaves is if Real Madrid are like, all right, mate, you're out. Go find a club. And I don't know really where to go. You know, we're obviously linked to him every season, like once or something. You know, for me,
ever since he scored twice against us.
Yeah, for me, it's just like it's a signing that won't happen.
You know why I bring that up, though? He scored 2 goals against us in Champions League, knocked us out, and since then we've been linked to him constantly. I mean, to me, that's just like, oh, he scored against us, now we want him, which seems a bit lazy journalism. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I don't think we're looking at him, to be honest. You know, And like you said, it's been ever since then. And every single season it comes around. Now, don't get me wrong, I'd be hype if I saw Rodrigo coming. I'm not going to say him. Rodrigo's a solid player, and the fee would probably get me hyped too, because 100 million would probably be where it is roughly. I'd be excited over spending a ton of money on a player like that. I was over Grealish, I was over Vardio, and I will be for future players that we go big on as well. But
Except for Grealish.
Except for Grealish, yes. From now on, yes. But with Rodrigo, again, we're linked to him every year. I just think it's going to be that player that gets linked, but we're not going to get. And it's the player that we get linked to that we just don't feel like we really need, especially this season. You could have maybe made an argument of when Mahrez left and we were in need of a top-class winger to maybe join. Instead, of course, we signed Doku. In my opinion, I think Elise probably would have been a bit better.
What a backhand that was, by the way.
I like Doku, but there are still question marks over him, and he's going into his third season, so he is one to watch. But
by the way, Messi and Alaba are suspended from the game against Cincinnati because they didn't play in the All-Star game. That's dumb, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is a bit silly.
I see a lot of MLS fans be angry about that. Is that big of a deal in America? I guess it is. Mendes is the GOAT. Yes.
Mendes?
I think she means the agent Mendes.
Oh, George Mendes, yeah.
I am enjoying the conversation between these two. Big up. I believe this coming season will be one of the most competitive overall. Top 10 going to be an even tighter affair than last season. Last season, I think, was incredibly uncompetitive, but so I don't think it's even that difficult to be more competitive than last season, but it should definitely be a very competitive season next season. Yeah. If you see, by the way, how clubs like Sunderland are buying, I'm sorry, they got Sadiki. This is a guy, who whenever he got onto the ball, because he played in the Belgian league, whenever he got onto the ball, I was hoping he would get tackled like Sergio Ramos tackles. That's what I was hoping every time I get onto the ball. He is way too good for a relegation club. I'm not saying he's like top level. He isn't. But this is a guy who's comfortably mid-table in Premier League. They got that and Xhaka in their midfield. Bro?
Yeah, Xhaka's joining, isn't it?
Yeah, that midfield is top 10 in the Premier League. That is a top 10 Premier League midfield. They've got a solid attack. I know why they bought Talbi. It's because he runs a lot. Yeah, he misses a lot of chances, but he runs a lot. So to have a pressing player there, Talbi is great. Everything else is shit, but to press, he's great. So they're building a really good team there. They bought a centre back from Roma, I believe. Bro, I say here, Sunderland are going to finish in the top 15 next season. They're building a really good team.
Yeah, they are really going big. Like you said, I think they've spent about 100 mil this summer, which is just crazy. Fair play, no doubt. Probably the Joe Bellingham money's giving them a hand a bit with that, but even then, they are spending a lot of money, and it'll just be a letdown if it doesn't work out for them. And like you said, they're signing decent players, like a centre back from Roma. That guy you just spoke about from the Belgian league, not gonna have I know who he is, but
Sadiki.
Yeah, he's
you know what's annoying about his name? His name is spelled Sad Dick, like Dick E.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of comments whenever I watch him play and I talk about him. Sad Dick.
It is rough names, and you do get them in football.
Make up the Simpson pussy.
Yeah, I was literally thinking of that. Oh man,
Oh, dude. Moving on. Ardon Yashari. We've got a hard on. Bro, I'll swear it down. If he joins a Premier League club, you're gonna hear those chants whenever he scores 3 goals Ardon. Price of player doesn't mean anything. I agree. Signing players who fit, irrespective of price, is what matters. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. Big up to the president of Norway. Hello, Mr. President. Go check out, by the way, in a linked comment, pinned comment. Subscribe to me, as it says, and then go subscribe to Luke, Not in My Lifetime podcast, and to Connect. There you go. That is your homework for today. So thank you, Mr. President, for coming in. Big up, guys. Hope it all good. No need for those messages. I did see that Rosa deleted some messages with respect to opinions here. Now, I did notice that she timed someone out. Good answers. Thank you. Hello, it's me, FIFA. Big up to FIFA, whose new name I'm not gonna remember that. So Thomas is not promised to make a difference today. What is So Thomas? I don't know. Anyhow, Grealish plus McAtee plus 20 million for the Livramento would be a deal that Newcastle surely wouldn't refuse. To be honest, I think you need 50 million on top of those two.
20 million, I think they'd laugh at us. Because McAtee, in terms of if we're going value for money, McAtee's probably City value him at about the Cole Palmer money, 40 million, but in reality, he's probably more like 30. Jack Grealish is, again, City probably want about 40 for him, but he's probably more like 30, so that's 60. I don't think Newcastle would accept an 80 million pound offer if you go pound for pound. And plus, I think Newcastle want the money more. You know, with the players, with losing out on Isak, who is going to bring in money, of course, I think Newcastle would rather us spend 100 million on Livramento than make it up for them with our offcuts of players that we don't want. Which is ultimately what that is, just with a little bit of cash on top. I think they would rather the money so that they can go and reinvest in a different top quality right back. I think would be the case.
Yeah. You know what, yeah? Because Livramento is currently valued, not Livramento, McAtee, I meant, is currently valued, not by Man City, but by other clubs, at 25 million. So 25 million. How much do you think Grealish should be valued at? 25 million, maybe, as well?
It's probably around there, you know. I think he's probably... Is he even higher though because of the wages? The wages are such a big factor in it all, because Grealish's wages is an extra 20 million a year on him.
Yeah. Maybe 20 million then?
Yeah, I was thinking, like, initially, before I even thought about that, I was thinking that that other clubs probably value him at 30 million just because of Premier League experience and because of what he did at Villa and because of his treble purple patch.
Yeah.
But when you lump on the wages on top of it, I think it is probably more like 20 million to pushing 25, probably.
Yeah, something like that, I imagine. I imagine they would want like at least 100 million in value for Livramento. If we assume, kindly to Grealish, 50 million for the Grealish and McAtee combined in valuation, you'd still need 50 million pounds, in my opinion. I'd love that as a deal, by the way, if we did that, but that just doesn't seem likely to me. What is the story with Nico Gonzalez? Well, I don't know. I don't know with this club, bro. And the story is that he wants to leave the club because he's not playing enough, because his wife doesn't like, girlfriend, doesn't like Manchester, and because he doesn't like the weather. So, 3 different stories said, really. There was also a story that he and Pep don't get along. So 4 different stories, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I think it's a load of waffle about Nico, to be honest. I think George Mendes is just trying to get him to move on. Sure, he should be starting ahead of Gundo. Surely, but doesn't always make sense.
Yeah, you think so.
Trafford's signing makes zero sense, in my opinion. Connect, I'll let you answer that first.
For me, it makes total sense. Total sense in my mind. Trafford, more than just a goalkeeper, he's homegrown. All right, we've spoken about homegrown countless of times over a few streams. So homegrown is one of them. We are ultimately losing a keeper. I think we knew that. One of our keepers were definitely going. It was looking like Eddie initially, but it seems like it's more likely Ortega now. So we are losing a keeper, so we need a replacement one way or the other. So we're bringing in Trafford for that. And plus, I think we need someone a bit more long-term. I think because both our keepers, I think, are 31 and 32, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, your goalkeeper age isn't quite the same as an outfield player. Like an outfield player probably slows down at pushing an absolute push of 33 if they're like really well kept. But a goalkeeper, look at Neuer. I know he gets injured quite a bit, but he's like 38
Buffon
or something.
It's probably a better example.
Yeah, there you go then. Buffon. And I think, to be honest, I think Courtois could very well be one of those keepers as well.
How old is Oblak now? He's still going strong. Allison is quite old as well. Peter Cech was old by the time he retired.
Yeah.
Goalkeepers have more longevity because they're less physical, right?
Yeah.
So I think goalkeepers have just way more longevity in that way. Hill says, I just need a right back now. Not gonna lie. To be honest, I'm fine. If we get a right back now, I'm chill.
Yeah, that's what I am. Get me a right back, a solid one. Just someone who's decent, someone that I can look at the stats of and be like, okay, we're signing someone decent there. And if we're signing Livramento, even better, because I love the look of him. But yeah, we just ultimately need a right back. Fabrizio said all that time ago that we want a right back alongside Aït-Nouri. But I'm really yet to see the movement. I keep hearing that we really like the look of Livramento and that he's the dream target. But it's just kind of
Get the league at clip in here.
Yeah. We're just kind of dancing around it, and ultimately, if City deem that deal out of reach, then let's move. Because the longer we wait, the harder it becomes to sign a player. Because it's not just about signing the player; it's about giving the club time to find their replacement. Because that's why I can't really stand deadline day deals. Because if we sign a club's top player on deadline day, they're going to want to bring in a replacement with the cash we give them, and if they can't, then they're not really going to want to sell. But if we do it now, suddenly Newcastle, for example, have got a month and a half-ish, and month and a quarter probably, to find a replacement for 100 million and even use the rest of the money to reinvest elsewhere on the field as well. So yeah, for me, we should be working on this right now. I would love a right back before the end of this month, but I'm hoping a right back at least before the season starts. I'd love it if we could get a right back in before our pre-season friendly, so I can just get a quick game in to just help them feel like what's like to be on the pitch with us.
Not good at the moment, I guess. But yeah, I completely agree. Your club has sold too many young players, in my opinion. Frimpong, he's the beat. I tell you now, he's the B-Tech trend, bro. Frimpong is the one player you fucked up on. It's the B-Tech trend. You should have gone for the classical fullback. Palmer, I don't regret Palmer leaving. He was never going to play. He's not better than Foden. He's not better than Cherki. He is a very purple patchy player. So he has a purple patch, and everyone talks about how great he is, but nobody talks about how bad he is when he's not on his purple patch, because he's at Chelsea and there's not a lot of pressure on Chelsea right now. You do that at Man City, what Palmer did last season, when he goes missing for 3 months, you're dead. Like, bro, found dead in your apartment type of stuff, you know. Bro, he's a good player, but I feel like people gas him up too much because he doesn't play at a big club. Well, he plays at a big club, but not at a competing club right now. It's kind of the same like with Harry Kane. There was no expectation for Tottenham to win, so Harry Kane could go missing for an entire month and nobody will talk about it. Harry Kane is the most overrated striker of our generation. I keep saying this. And people say, you're waffling. But you go ask a Bundesliga fan what they think of Kane. They take the piss out of him. They don't rate him there. Like, was he a good player? Yes. But was he world class, best striker in the world? Never. At no point was he that. And that's what Premier League fans rated him as, because he was at a club with no pressure. I feel like we do the same with Palmer. He's a good player, but he's overrated because he's at a club with no pressure on him. He does that stuff at Man City, where he goes missing for 2 or 3 months. Yeah, you don't recover from that. Trafford, Rodgers, I don't regret Trafford's leaving because we've got him back. I don't mind that. Rodgers and many others. They could have benefited your team if you held on to them and gave them a chance. Maybe, but I don't regret that as much. I think moving forwards, we need to be a bit smarter with our academy players. But I don't regret any academy players that I've left. I really don't. I don't know what you think, Ted.
No, it's a little bit mixed feelings because like it's easy to say, oh, we shouldn't have sold Frimpong, but like I don't think anyone. I didn't really know Frimpong when he left, and we're only seeing it now because he's ended up becoming a top player. You know, like don't get me wrong, they're good players, and we have, in terms of producing good players, we have one of like a really good academy for it. But I'm not really bothered because our academy sales truly help us massively. You know, the profits we bring in for players that hardly kick the ball for us is huge. Like the lap we sold for 20 million and
got a selling clause.
And got a selling clause and a buyback. You know, the lap 20 million. I think he started one game for us in the cup once. Lavia 20 to 15 million. Another player that maybe played a cup game.
He never played for us. Lavia never played for us.
There you go.
Neither did. What's the guy at Como now? What's his name?
Perone.
Perone. He never played for us either.
Yeah.
Well, he played a few friendlies, but never like senior football.
No. You know, we sell these academy players that never kick a ball for us, and it's instant profit, and it really does help a transfer window.
Carlos Forbes.
I know
who's got it at Club Brugge.
Yeah, there you go. You know, these are players that are solid, and and some of them very well do have the talent to come back and bite us. You know, Cole Palmer scored a last-minute penalty equaliser against us. But for me, I think that the business we do with them is incredibly intelligent, and I think there's so many clubs probably wish they could do it like us. You know, the money we bring in for our academy boys is brilliant, and it helps big time with transfer windows. You know, we sell 5 academy players. We've bought in. We've probably bought in.
Played already with that.
Yeah, we've probably bought in at least 60 mil. That's Rangers paid for. That's Shirky and Aitnouri paid for with that, you know.
And now you go sell Carl Walker for, I believe, 2 million. Let's say you sell Doku for 30 million. Let's say you sell McAtee for 30 million. There you go. The Rangers paid for it.
Exactly, you know. And McAtee's another player that's only going to bring in profit. For a player that's not played tons for us, he's played a lot more than other academy players we sold. But again, that's going to be about 25 million bought in just like that. And so I don't really regret it because I know it ultimately helps. So sometimes I am a little bit like let down. Like I did like Cole Palmer and I did want him to stay at the time, but I wasn't too disheartened about it because like it was fine. Don't get me wrong. If it was like Phil Foden, who I really do like, I'd be like, oh man, what are we doing that for? But we wouldn't do that. The club probably sees they do see Phil Foden as untouchable, as well as a few other.
I believe the club sets that 5 players are untouchable. Rodri, obviously. Foden, Haaland. This was last season, by the way. I think it was De Bruyne as well. I'm not sure who the last one was, but I think that's like 4 of the 5 they said. Diaz, probably, yeah. It was last season, so yeah, probably Diaz. So Foden is considered untouchable.
Yeah.
Out of attack is sacked and definitely not a problem. Big up to Samet, by the way. Our lacking of pressing and shit tactics are. I mean, that's very brutally said, but I agree. I think it's our lack of. I think we're just so bad shape tactics when we're defending. I think that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, the system and the setup, it just isn't really working. The high line we play as well. I think we're just struggling to deal with that, and it's partly why I think we do need Kusanov in that back line because of how rapid he is. Like he's so quick. He is rash, but like you said, young players are. Again, that'll get trained out of them as they get more matured. But we need quick players that can get back quickly now, in my opinion. Right now, he's pretty quick. He's not the quickest man on earth, but
Nordic's going to be high up the pitch.
True, he is going to be up and down, to be fair.
So I think we need a quick player who's going to stay back a bit more.
Yeah, and I think that can be Kusanov.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't mind that, but I think our proper right back is better. So
that's true, because that was partly what Kyle Walker was. Because I don't really think Kyle Walker was ever praised for his brilliant overlapping play and wonderful balls into the box. You know, I can't.
He was criticized a lot with his shit crossing. Remember?
Yeah, man, I'll never forget it, man. Like in that 23-24 season, he was obsessed with like whipping in like just awful balls, man. Like it was getting painful because he knew what was going to happen. He was gonna be on the ball, okay, not quite like on the edge of the box, but like a bit out of it, and he'd like be on it, okay, he'd be clearly looking in the box, thinking about where to go. He'll go for the whip. It'll either hit the first man or just get easily like headed away. Like he's just not that guy. Okay, he's not like Cancelo when it comes to crossing. Cancelo could whip in a ball.
You know what Jet is saying right now? Let's buy Cancelo back. Let's not.
No, that ship's sailed. That ship's sailed.
Get Zinchenko back, bro. Word of thoughts watch. Have you seen Alf Priest suit connect?
Have I seen Alf's what suit?
Oh god, I'm gonna have to share this now. Give me a second to find this.
Wait, was it? Is it the blue one?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I didn't realize you actually bought it. Oh man, that's brilliant. Fair play.
There you go. It's over here right now. It's over here. It's like in its packaging. I'm gonna take that out again when it's the 16th of August, the first game of the season. We will be taking the cross, by the way. The cross is over here because I can't get back into the packaging. I don't know how they fucking package that shit, but this cross could not fit back in.
Oh man, amazing. That is great.
It's going to be delightful. It's going to be a delightful day. Hopefully. Let's hope my Braves can save Man City. Union 16th place. I mean, it's the first game of the season. Let's not take that too seriously. Where's the other fella? Luke couldn't make it today. Big up to Luke, but today he could not make it. like Connect last week, and next week it will be Connect again.
Yeah, back to it.
It's funny though. It's very rare that all three of us are here at the same time, but so far we've always had at least 2 people here. I've never had to cancel yet. I'm the GOAT.
Yeah, there you go.
It's my own channel. I hope I schedule these things with my own channel properly.
Yeah, you would hope so, yeah.
Connect Onyedika or Nico. Onyedika or Nico Gonzalez. Well, I don't think Connect knows who Onyedika is.
Yeah, I don't think I do either.
He scored against Man City in the Champions League. Club Brugge.
Yeah, the name did ring a bell. I just couldn't put a face on it.
Yeah, he's the one who scored to 1-0, and then it became 3-1.
Okay.
So he's the one who scored that. He's a very good player, but if you think Akanji has balls a moment, you're not ready for Onyedika, bro. Imagine Akanji, but a better player, but more balls a moment.
High risk, high reward.
Like literally, Akanji has like a balls moment in every so many games. Onyedika, every single game there will be a balls moment. Every single game, at least one, at least, sometimes more. So it's definitely Nico Gonzalez, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll run with that.
That's true. Academy players are pure profits. Anyhow, hit up the likes, as Rosa says, and subscribe. Not just to me, to Connect, to Luke, who's not in here today, but big up to President Luke. All the links are in the pinned comments, and I mean, subscribe to me as well while you're here. Now, we've been talking for almost 2 hours, so I think we'll leave it there. Thank you for coming on, as always, Connect. And let's just leave it there. Alf, rate in chat, people. Alf, rate in chat. And we'll see you guys on the next one.